Hi, Roy.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, quiet. I went to the dentist today. I,
Well, that seems like a wonderful thing to do on a during a pandemic.
yeah. Well, yeah, they take a lot of care.
Well, that's good.
I have a temporary crown, so it's not bad. It's good.
Good.
That's because he's muted. This is the computer with the camera in it. So I hate my profile. So I don't want profile. Oh, I see. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We have a few attendees that have not identified themselves with their full name. If you're not
No, we can't hear you.
unmuted, I unmuted me. Okay, I was muted in 2 spots. Okay, so we have a couple of attendees that have not identified themselves with their full name. If you are not identified with your full name, please change your name or we will ask you to be removed.
I saw Dennis on there for a moment. I don't see him as a member now. There's.
Hello, Vanessa.
I'm here.
That looks like Dennis.
Yeah,
Hello.
but it says it, Vanessa underneath them.
Oh yeah, no, that's me.
Okay.
So did Vanessa send you her link?
She
Because
did.
there's
She
a
did.
chance that she won't be able to get in now.
She said she would be a few minutes late, so let me text her and what do we do if, can she use her link also or not? Is it just one person?
No, only one person can use it. Looks like she's in as an
I think that's me. Let's see. Let me, I'm texting her now. Laura, if you wouldn't mind, do you want to email me my own link and then I can leave so she can get back in?
Okay, hold on. Thank you. All right. All right. Our IT folks, Kevin Farilla is going to email it to you.
Okay, great. All right, I just got that, so I'm going to leave.
Where the
I'm
cameras?
going to leave as Vanessa and come back as myself.
Okay, thank you.
And I missed it, but Harry, did you say that you had some dental work and you compared this hearing to a root canal?
This whole process was worse.
There you go. I'm signing off and I'll be right back on.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going to give it just a few minutes for Mr. Newman to come back on, and then we'll get started. And that's all we're missing, correct?
Is Daniel on? Daniel
He
Engineer?
is,
Okay.
not by video, but he is.
Oh, yeah, he's just got it as a video button.
I'm here.
Okay, video button? Yeah.
Okay, here comes Dennis. Okay.
Very good.
I'm back again.
Oh, boy, here we got a crew.
So you said that Vanessa was going to be a few minutes late?
Yes, but we can start.
Okay.
I promised to take copious notes, so.
Huh.
You promised, you promising
Vanessa.
us or Vanessa?
That's,
Both.
that's probably because I helped bring you back in here.
There you go.
Well, as Ray said, I just wanted to feel comfortable with what I was saying.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and reopen the public hearing for the Board of Registrars on July 1st at 4:08 p.m. Real quick, as I call your name, please respond with an affirmative that you're in attendance. Chris?
Here.
Harry?
Affirmative.
Nancy?
Yes.
And Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Ensminger?
Here.
And we'll mark Vanessa when she comes on. And Town Council, Ray? Ray, are you here?
Yeah, but I was muted, so now I am here.
Okay. All right. So I just want to have take a few moments to make a couple of announcements and just a few reminders, and then we'll get started with deliberation. So first, I'd like to state that the minutes that were in question during yesterday's session, I did find those minutes. I will confess they were on my desk at home, and they are now posted online. I also would like to have a reminder that everyone at the board may continue to deliberate. Participants may not speak unless they are asked a question and recognized by the chair. I ask that the members also wait until you're recognized by the chair. And then I'd also like to remind the board that the deliberation and the vote should be based on fact and what's best for the town as a whole. I'd also like to, I believe Harry said he'd like a minute of to make a comment before we get started with the deliberation, so I'm going to allow him to do that. And before Harry does that, does everybody hear an echo or is it just me?
Yeah, I have an echo.
All right, so
Not,
the reason why you're hearing an echo is because all of us are unmuted here in this room. So if you're not speaking, if you could just mute, that would help eliminate some of the echo. Okay, so Harry, I'm going to let you go ahead and do your thing.
okay. I'm not sorry, but I do thank you for showing up this extra day. I was not comfortable without looking and reviewing the remarks yesterday. And as Ray mentioned, we have to feel comfortable. To me, this is non-evidentiary. This is just a statement of what I've learned. For me, it's kind of a sad day. This process has not been constructive. It seems to move us in the wrong direction. Uh, we, I was going to make a plea, but I don't think I will. I wish Vanessa well, and I wish Chief Daniel Clark well. We have to do better. We've done a lot here. We've teamed up as a town. A lot of people don't remember that we were leaders in the nationally in the ABM site, where the government wanted to put a ring of missile sites, anti-missile sites around cities like Boston. They called it the Iron Fist. And they started putting silos in over on the east side of our town. We fought it. It's a bad idea to try to intercept nuclear bombs in the final
Harry, I'm
phase.
going to interrupt you for just
Yeah,
a moment. Can we stick to the deliberation of what's before the board?
Okay. All right. We've been together a lot, so that's the point. I just want to make a point that as far as the deliberations go, this is just a statement on togetherness of the town. Back in the day when I held signs, we would be at the high school and we had Republicans and Democrats beside each other. And we kidded. And what I'm looking for is one little thing that came out of that. A young Republican came up to me and my fellow Democrats and offered a cardboard tray of coffee on a cold, dank day. And that's what I'm looking for in this town now. And that really concludes my statement.
Thank you, Harry. So one more thing before we get started is that I'd like to point out that Mr. Ensminger has submitted a withdrawal of one of his, let me share my screen here. Everybody see my little sunset and barn?
No?
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 I got participants.
How about now?
Yes.
Oh, what a nice site.
Isn't that nice? That's where I kind of want to be. Snow on the ground and all.
Yep. You're a New Englander.
I am. Okay, so this information was sent, I just want to make sure I give the correct terminology here. So this was sent out last night from Mr. Ensminger that the petitioner's argument that at the hearing he's withdrawing his objection to the fact of the affidavit not being filed timely. And that this is on our website if you'd like to read the whole thing. But I just wanted to make sure that that was heard. All right. Real quick, I'm missing a few participants. Have we lost Dan or am I just not seeing them? There we go. Got it. Okay. I see everybody now. So I see that Chris has her hand up. Yep.
Yes, I'm just referring to that email that came last night. Now, I'm not sure what he meant by that withdrawal of argument, that the objection was not timely filed. I just want him to explain that a little bit more. If you
Dan,
could.
would you like to explain?
Yeah, sure. Having listened to the discussion yesterday and especially the comments from both councils. I think there's sufficient gray area in 55B, Section 7, that it may not have been drafted to specifically apply to affidavits. So I'm withdrawing and I wanted to read what I'm stipulating to here. If you could roll that down a little bit. That's all I'm going to say here. I just want to keep it very brief.
How far down?
That's good. I therefore stipulate that the March 11, 2020 filing of the objection to the affidavit was timely, accepted by the town, and that the Board of Registrars and Town Council were not in error, nor in violation of MGL Chapter 55B, Chapter 7, in ruling the objection to the affidavit submission to be timely at the Registrars' April 8th, 2020 meeting. My hope is that this action will allow the Registrars to have a more focused discussion today on the remaining issues. That's all I have to say.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we're now ready to go back into the deliberations with the board. Does the board, anybody have anything to say on the board? Harry and Chris, you both have your hands up. Who's first? Who had their hand up first?
I don't have it up. Oh, I was leaning on my chin.
Okay, okay, so Harry, go ahead.
Okay. I did look over the documents, the arguments for and the arguments against, and I gotta maybe go back to what happened today on this memo, but in looking at the head person being sworn in, John Arena, and the 250 signers, I find that was done according to our charter. The town clerk did the proper signing in under her seal. So that point remains for the petitioners. I looked at the other cases, and the big one for me is that the objectors withdrew contested names on their objections, and that was a big move on my part. So I take that as law, as proper. The other points were covered, and I believe that the petitioners made a case. I am ready to deliberate.
Okay, Nancy, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I do have one more question, but I also just have a,
Nancy, I think you need to unmute.
sorry.
That's okay.
There. I do have one more question for Ray. And before I ask the question though, I have a few statements that I'd like to deliver.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say that I would like to thank my fellow board members. This is my first year as a registrar, and I'm really appreciative of everyone's effort to present all this information in a fair and open manner. I chose to volunteer to become a registrar to help protect the integrity of elections in a nonpartisan manner. And like Harry, I have fully read the testimony of both parties as well as the town council. And in addition, I carefully studied the petitions and signatures against the signature cards following the 950 CMR 55 regs. And actually during this process, I saw enough discrepancies to at least merit a discussion, I thought, but it was decided to withdraw that objection. One very important thing that I learned is that voters should really take seriously the need for carefully signing the petition or nomination papers. It helps to maintain the integrity of the process when the signature is legible. So adding another column to the form so that voters can print their names would be very helpful for the registrars. And now here's my last question for the town council. Attorney Newman raised the case of Galvin versus the town clerk of Winchester. And I'm curious, Ray, what is your opinion to the relevance of this case to the town of Reading's recall process?
Okay, there, now I'm unmuted. Okay, so there aren't a lot of cases that have been decided that deal with the issues that are before you. And Galvin versus the town clerk of Winchester is certainly some indication of how a court would look at these matters. But that said, this is not a decision that you can point to and say these two cases are exactly alike and therefore we have to reach the same result that was reached there. They're not exactly alike in part because the language of our charters are not exact. And they're also, they're not exactly alike because the discussion near the end of that decision that talks about the 200 or more voters must file the affidavit doesn't really strictly say address the circumstances that we find ourselves in here today. That is the distinction between filing the affidavit and swearing to the affidavit. So there is a sentence there that says that an oath or its equivalent is required. One might draw the inference that that means that the oath or its equivalent is required of all the people who filed the affidavit. But the court didn't, strictly speaking, say that. And further, the language that it was interpreting in the charter is different in that our charter only requires that the grounds be sworn to. It does not suggest that the 250 voters in our case need to do anything more than file the affidavit. So I think that's different language. And while this decision is clearly instructive, it is not dispositive.
Thank you.
So one thing I'd like to address is.
Somebody is not muted.
Yeah.
Somebody is muted.
Okay, is that better?
Better.
Okay, so one thing I would like to address that Nancy made a comment in that form, the form for any nomination papers is actually designed by the state elections division, and the form that was done for the petition was designed after what the state requests. So we'd have to actually work with the state to add a column for the name to be printed. Just kind of a little bit of information. It's not something we can just do. So any other comments? Harry, you have your hand up?
Okay, all right, hear me?
Yep.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but thoughts on future recall hearings? Nancy hit on one. For me, it was difficult, and the process for reviewing signatures has to be set somewhere up front, the order of it, so that things won't change. I found myself, it was helpful, A lot of people did spreadsheets and moved things around, but I started with the objectives as they were proposed by the objectors, and I started going down through the signatures in that case. So some kind of order there might be good. 2, blank registration cards. I think you said that you're in the process of fixing those. Those signatures have to be added to the blank cards.
We have no control over that. That's done slowly so if the voter makes a change to their voter registration, such as an address or their party, then they have to fill out another card and sign it. So we slowly get the new address. If they go to the RMV and sign their name and register to vote through the RMV, then we'll get the address. But there's nothing we can do to do away with the old system, except to wait over time.
So if they sign a petition, is it valid or invalid?
It's valid.
It's valid. Okay. All right.
We can't enfranchise the voter because of the old system.
I understand. Questions and answers that were on this site were very good. It gave us basis for the emails that were added. There were a lot of emails supporting their signature, and having a printed name and their signature on that really lent a lot of credence to what they were trying to back up. So that was good. Maybe adopt that somehow in the procedures. That's a good.
I could take a look at that.
Okay, that's it right now. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Are we ready to take a vote?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to vote to either sustain the objection of the affidavit or to reject the object. Yeah.
Say that again. Repeat, please.
I was gonna say, you know what I mean, but that's
Yeah.
okay. So we are going to take a vote of we are going to accept the affidavit as submitted, or are we going to reject the affidavit from the objections that were filed by Vanessa? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody want to second that motion?
Second.
And anybody, I'm going to go through the list. Harry?
I accept the affidavit
As submitted.
as submitted. Yes.
Okay. Nancy?
Except as submitted.
And Chris?
Accept as submitted.
Okay.
Laura, I think it would be useful for the board to ask town council to prepare a writing in support of that vote. So we have a written decision that includes the statement of the grounds for supporting it.
So I'm just trying to make sure I have the correct here. Move that the board direct town council to draft a statement of reasons in support of this decision and vote. Is that what you're referring to, Ray?
Right, and we'll, I would suggest that we submit that to the board for its review, say next week, so you can vote to endorse it and sign it.
Okay, so we'll schedule a meeting for next week to vote to endorse that and also approve some minutes.
So move.
Second.
Okay, so you're doing a so move for the move that the board direct town council to draft a statement of reasons in support of this decision. Harry, do you,
Support, yes.
okay? Chris,
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
All right, and, well, the next motion would be to call a meeting next week to approve this. And Ray, when do you think you would be okay to do this? Date-wise?
Why don't we say Wednesday?
Which would be the 8th?
Yeah, a week from today.
Okay.
Just made an appointment.
7/8/20.
What time?
All right, so
You're doing such a nice job of meeting at 4 o'clock. Why don't we do it at 4 o'clock?
okay, so is the board available for 7/8/20 to meet at 4 o'clock?
I think so.
I just made an appointment today, but I guess I could, with the boy appointments are going today, it's not easy to get them. That's the only thing.
I'm certainly open to
It's
a
at 3
different time.
o'clock and I,
Can we do the 9th? Is everybody available on the 9th? Ray? Will that work for
Yeah.
you?
The 9th,
Thursday.
Thursday
Yeah.
the 9th? No?
yes.
No.
Okay.
we can do it earlier in the day.
How about on the 8th, but like around
8th I could do in the morning or earlier.
noontime? 11, 1,
Yeah?
10? 10?
1?
let's do 1.
1?
If everybody's available. Is
That's
everybody,
okay. Yeah.
Ray, does that work for you?
Okay, so we're talking about 1 o'clock on Wednesday, the 8th.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
That works.
Shouldn't take long, right?
Well,
No.
with luck, I will get the draft out to you ahead of time, so you will have had a chance to read it, and then
Okay. Just vote on it. Okay.
And then I will also, we have a couple of sets of minutes that need to be approved. I will make sure those get sent to you and we can do it all at the same time.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
1 o'clock on
1
the
o'clock.
8th.
Yep.
All right, and Ray, do we have any other business that we need to take care of that I have forgotten about?
nope, that seems to be it.
Okay, so before we adjourn, I would like to, okay, go ahead, Dennis, go ahead.
One question and a comment. The question is to Ray. Ray, when that is submitted to the board, can you submit it to Dan and I also so that we can review it in case of any possible court challenge? And that's the question. And the comment is, I want to thank the board and Dan and the town council for the time and consideration of our objections. We really appreciate your time and careful deliberation of the issues that we raised. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Real quick,
So, Dennis, in response to your question, Laura, with your permission?
sure, I was just wanting to, before you do, I just curious, are you looking for the draft or the final copy, Dennis?
I assume the draft, because until you actually vote on it, it probably won't be final. My assumption is that the draft will be the final, but either is fine.
Okay, go ahead, Ray.
I'm happy to provide a copy of the draft in the same manner that we have been doing, which is documents that are submitted to the board are also submitted to the to you, Dennis, and to you, Dan. And in due course, it'll get posted, I assume, on the website. I can't guarantee how much before the meeting I'm going to be able to do that, because this is a holiday weekend. We do still try to observe holidays. But I will do my best. Are you suggesting that you need time to go to court before Wednesday?
No, we will not go to court before Wednesday.
Okay, all right. Okay, I will do my best.
No, I appreciate that, and I understand the time constraints. And again, I appreciate your time and all of the board's time and energy and consideration of our objection. We really appreciate it.
Okay.
And Are we set? Okay, so with Dan, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. I too wanted to thank the board for their attention. I know it was a lot of material to get through. And Harry, maybe you'll have coffee with an old Republican sometime. You never know what might happen.
Okay. That's a good start.
You're younger than I am, too.
And Chris, you have your hand up.
No?
No? All right, so we're good. Anybody else have any comments from the board? All right, before we adjourn, I'd like to also follow that I really appreciate all the time that's been put into this by both my staff and the board,
I know.
and all the
Quite a
hard
lot.
work that everyone's put in by town council. And again, my staff, I definitely would like to thank them.
Amen.
So with that said, we will adjourn this hearing, and we'll go out and enjoy the sunshine.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at,
We'll go to that bond, Laura.
I'm sorry?
We'll go to the bond that you have up.
She's got a barbecue for us.
That's
There we go.
right. All right, meeting adjourned at 4:37 PM, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.